Hi, everybody. Welcome to the latest and the newest episode of Just Gaming Tingz Podcast. Here we are, bringing you an all queer perspective on video games, gaming news, and nerdy stuff. Look at us. Here we are.
Yes. 8
Uh,
episodes. Can you believe?
8 episodes, y'all. Thank you, everybody who listens. If this is your first episode, if this is your eighth episode, we love you and appreciate you all so much. Of course, all our hosts are here. So we have Chilora. Say hi. We have
Hi.
Jam. Hi.
Hi,
We
guys.
have Koga.
Hi. Hello.
Me, I'm Ruby. Hello. And we have Spin. Hello.
Hey, y'all.
Here we
Spin.
are.
Here we are.
Spin. We
We're
have some
here.
some news to get into, don't we?
We do. Okay, so y'all, this latest console generation has been absolutely ridiculous.
To say the least.
It's only been like 2 weeks and it's already ridiculous.
Right.
So I have a little write-up from GameSpot, and this is from Wednesday, when Walmart did a restock of the PS5 and the Xbox. So here's a little write-up from GameSpot. The Walmart PS5 and Xbox Series X restock listings, which went live tonight, Wednesday night, now say that the consoles are out of stock. This change comes shortly after the listing stated they were temporarily out of stock, which made it unclear whether or not stock would return later that night. The restock began at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and the listing showed out of stock by 9:02 p.m. It's worth keeping an eye on the listings above just in case, but with the out of stock label, it would seem Walmart is fully sold out for now. So they literally they sold out in 2 minutes. And okay, so I do have a bit of a personal story from this experience because I was there on the Walmart site trying to get a Series S. I finally convinced myself, you know what? I'm gonna get an Xbox Series S. I'm gonna do it. And then I saw that they were doing a restock for Black Friday on Wednesday. And I was like, oh, okay, let me go do that. Set my alarm. I'm on the site, 8:55, refreshing. As soon as it hits 9, the site goes down. Like completely down. Can't access anything. Absolutely just obliterated. Couldn't put anything in my cart. Nothing. I'm refreshing. Like literally a minute or two later, I finally get in the site and everything's out of stock. So that's the journey I went on Wednesday night trying to get an Xbox. So what do y'all think is causing this? Because I feel like previous console generations haven't been like this. Yeah, it's definitely not super easy to get a new console, but it's never been like this. So I is wanting to kind of see y'all's opinions on what do we think is going on here? What's the issue? Laura, did you want to kind of go first and talk about it?
What's going on here? It's ignorance. It's stupidity. It's idiocy. Y'all, every time a new console comes out, every time a new game comes out, oh, we're just gonna give 5 to every store. Do you know how many fucking people there are on the goddamn planet? Hello? This happens so often. Did we not learn from the Switch? Did we not learn from the Wii? Did we not learn from the PS3, the PS4, the Xbox 360, whatever? They all sold out. When we do pre-orders, how many pre-orders are there? Oh, I don't know. Lots. There's way too many. Usually even I don't understand. Sometimes they are okay, let's do pre-orders. It'll be really cute. Do you want it in advance so we know how many to make? And then they don't make enough for their pre-orders. And then they don't make enough for the sales at the stores. So I don't understand what is going on here. There's some kind of miscommunication where it's literally simple first grade math. Hi, I would like 7 apples, please. And they're like, well, I have 2. I'm going to make sure that I have 2 for you on time, but only 2. Did you want more than that? Well, I said I want 7. Well, here's 2. No,
That should be fine, right?
you don't go to the grocery store with your list and you're like, I need 17 eggs, and then you're like, well, I got 3. Like, no, like I don't like you wouldn't do that to a customer on Etsy. You wouldn't do that to a customer on Amazon if you order a certain amount of things and then they sent you like less than you asked for. Like, I just don't understand the supply and demand problem at all. I just think it's really stupid. Like, who is up there floating in the clouds with this job that they're just kind of like, I don't give me your job. Other people want jobs. Give me your job. Because someone will do it better.
Truly. No, I would have to agree with that. I think the big issue is that it's just not thinking about. I think they're scared for some reason that like this is going to be the time where it doesn't sell out. So they're like, oh, let's not give enough. We'll give slightly more than we gave last time, but not as many as we need. It's like, but the pre-order happened, so you know how many people want it. They paid to be able to get one. Like, the pre-orders typically require you to put some type of money down to get them. So people want the device. So I don't understand the issue of all of that. I think, you also have the supply and demand issue of changes in working conditions right now as well. So you have a combined thing of them not realizing that there's enough and then also not being able to make enough as well, because they probably have fewer people that can work in the same space at the same time, given the pandemic we're in. So they didn't plan ahead and start making them early. They just said, we'll do what we have to do. It won't sell out too fast. And then 2 minutes into
and guess what?
the sale, it's gone. Especially when you're making devices like the Xbox Series S, which is $299 for a next-gen gaming console. Like, people will drop money on that because that's more reasonably priced than any kind of next-gen console has been in a long time. So, I don't really get it. And like Chalora said, who is doing this math? Because whoever's doing it needs to lose their job because they don't know what they're doing.
This is why you can't just be like, I have a friend who needs a job. They're really cool. They're not very smart, but like, they're my friend. No.
Nepotism is great, Chalora. What do you mean?
I'm sure I'm someone's friend and I'm not very smart. Can somebody give me
Facts.
Not this. I can't. That's too much.
I've seen a Ralph. You know what? I've seen a fish before. Give me Jam's job, please. I've seen a fish.
Yes.
Just because you can hire someone doesn't mean that you should hire someone.
Honestly, Chalora, you might do better than me. Precious. You are. What do you think, Koga? You are cute, Spin.
I really don't get what the issue is either. Like, I can kind of understand it with the pandemic and whatnot, but it's like, that people are going to want to get these consoles, so you should probably have enough. And they do this every single time. Every time. Like, all of them. Microsoft, Nintendo, and PlayStation. Nintendo definitely, because they do it with consoles and amiibos. But it's like, if people want to buy it, just put it out there for them. And they just don't make enough. So it's going to be always selling out. If it's whether because people are buying it, which would also include all the scalpers. Thanks a lot for that. But yeah, this generation is definitely one where people are really trying to like get them. And they can't because there's not enough. And y'all need to make enough. Like I said, I get it because we're in a pandemic. So I'm not like too about it. But all right, within a few months or so, y'all need to get that out there so people can buy them and not have to babysit the internet and hit reload a bunch of times and then or sit and wait for the cart, because it's just like just for fun. Like, I saw a thing was on Best Buy and they had it in earlier today for like a brief moment of the Xbox Series X and S. I click put in cart, never happened. Just like, it's very chaotic right now. So they need to do something about that. How about you feel about it, Ruby?
Yeah, I think y'all pretty much covered all of it. I think I've talked about this before of like, what's the point of pre-orders if you're not gonna fulfill the pre-orders? Because I don't know, back in my day, and I'm not even that old, when you pre-order something from a store, like when people used to pre-order like the latest Final Fantasy games, or when people used to pre-order the latest, I remember a friend of mine in middle school would get like text messages from like the game store that his parents would buy games from or pre-order games from, and be like, oh, the latest WWE game is available for me to pick it up. And it's like, back then, like, obviously because games were only physical, you had to pre-order them to make for stores to know how many games they wanted to be shipped for the store. And nowadays, one of the only things that makes sense to pre-order, or at least it would seem like it, would be consoles, because obviously you can't get a digital console. You have to have like a physical thing to run your games and stuff like that. So it just baffles me, like seeing Amazon orders being canceled, them being like, oh, we can't fulfill your order. What's the point of a pre-order if then, like, I don't know if whose fault it is. Like, maybe all the gaming stores and everywhere that sells electronics has the best intentions, and then Sony and Microsoft are like, sorry, we only produced half of that, so good luck with that. But yeah, it's what Chalora said. Like, wouldn't you look at the numbers and be like, okay, there's, I don't know, 100,000 consoles that have been pre-ordered, and I'm just saying that as like a simple number because I'm gay and I can't do math. So like, just if you have 100,000 pre-orders, then just ship out like 200,000 or 150,000 or something, so that there's a little bit more, so you can, one, fulfill the demands that have already been like paid for in a lot of cases, and in other ways, like, so that other people are not getting your money, Sony, like, and Microsoft. Like what Koga said about the scalpers, like, nobody wins from that. Only the people who are like, oh yeah, let me set up a bot, buy 10 of them, break every website that sells it, and then sell it for thousands of dollars. Like, of course, it's not their fault that people do that with bots and with all of the shady ways that people do that. But if they weren't so elusive and so rare, they wouldn't be worth it for people to scalp to begin with. Because if there were like plenty of consoles out there, the value for someone getting it on eBay or something wouldn't be as high. You know what I mean? So I think that's just, I don't understand how that even happens. Like, let us give you our money, especially holiday season, especially during a pandemic where everything is going to be handled online. I will also have to say that it's on the websites as well to be prepared, because they have a bandwidth of like how many people can be at the website at one time. And guess what? A new console is going to be out. How about you expand how many people can be on your website at that one time, and be prepared for a launch? Because I can't just blame Sony and Microsoft for this, because it's also like what Spin was saying, like, he was there way before it went live. The second he refreshed to buy the console, then the website is broken. That could be associated obviously with a bot, with like bots like overdoing it, but it could also be with the website not being prepared for it. And I say this also from the perspective of like sometimes concert tickets and stuff like that. Like, websites like Ticketmaster and stuff like that have started to adapt and be like, okay, we're opening a queue like an hour and a half before the tickets go live, so that people know that the website is going to be under control. And even then it still breaks. So be prepared, everybody. If you're a retailer, if you manufacture consoles, if you do all of that, like, get it together. What do you think, Spin?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different factors. Like, I feel like there's definitely some kind of responsibility on the retailers to just, that people are using bots to like snap up all the consoles and then sell them on eBay for a huge profit. Like, this is happening. So why wouldn't you prepare in advance for that? Like you're saying, Ticketmaster does the queues. Like you could do that. Like I wouldn't mind waiting online, like in a queue to get an Xbox. I feel like that's a perfectly good solution. And it's wild to me because like they know that the bots are an issue, and yet nothing is happening about it.
Well, and like
Absolutely nothing. Huh?
they like always put on the packaging like, oh, not for resale and all this stuff, and it's like obviously it is because you're not doing anything to prevent this problem.
That's not going to stop anyone.
No,
Yeah.
like it wouldn't be that complicated to, I don't know, restrict purchasing of console by IP address or something.
Yeah.
Like have a limit for IP address. Exactly.
Yeah.
There are a lot of different things that could be done and are not being done.
Yeah, because they typically limit it per cart. You know, they're like, oh, like you can only have 2 in a cart. But then if someone's using a bot, they're just spamming, they're just putting it in multiple carts and just buying, 20 of them at the same time and then selling them. And it's just like, at this point, we know this. And then I'm sure they could come to some type of deal with eBay. And I'm sure that they could come to some type of deal with eBay and a lot of these secondhand sellers to be like, look, if this pops up on your site, like this is someone basically scalping a product to oversell it. Like, don't allow them to sell it at this exorbitant of a price. But
don't let people be assholes.
Yeah. It's like, hey, eBay, don't let people sell a console that's $400 or $500 for $1,000 to someone.
$2,000, yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, eBay does profit from this. I know we were saying like you're only giving money to the scalpers, but you're also giving your money to eBay because eBay takes a percentage of every sale. So
yeah, so they're gonna let it slide.
Yeah, that's the thing. eBay does profit from this.
Yeah.
Like but yeah, I do think that there's just a lot of factors going on, and there's a lot of different things that go into it. Also, speaking of ridiculous things that are happening because of the launch, we have another story, a PS5 specific story, Koga, if you want to get into that.
Oh, yes, indeed. All right, so we have an article from Video Game Chronicle about PlayStation 5 users being banned for selling PlayStation 4 collection to PlayStation 4 users. Naughty, naughty people. The PlayStation Plus collection is a library of 20 PlayStation 4 games, including 10 first-party games and 10 third-party titles, given exclusively to PlayStation 5 owners who are also members of the paid subscription service. However, some PlayStation 5 users have begun exploiting a loophole with the collection, which sees them log into the users' accounts of PlayStation 4 owners on their next-gen consoles, which causes the collection games to then automatically unlock on the user's last-gen console. According to Sony's marketing, the PlayStation Plus collections is intended as a perk for owners of PlayStation 5 consoles only. Unsurprisingly, auction sites including eBay already have multiple listings for people offering to unlock PlayStation Plus collection for PlayStation 4 in exchange for money. According to many users on a popular Chinese forum, Sony has issued multiple bans in the region for both PlayStation 5 selling access to the PlayStation Plus collection and those PlayStation 4 users who have purchased access to it. Yeah, that's something that I would definitely see you getting banned for. Like, it's not worth it. I don't think the subscription is that much. I don't think so. I don't see why you would risk getting your entire account banned just to get like a subscription service. It's not worth it. So, congratulations on that to those of you who got banned. You earned that one. But what about the rest of you? Do you think that it's fair for the users who exploited this loophole to be banned? My answer is yes.
I think so too. Like, I don't know how long this campaign is supposed to last for when it comes to the PlayStation Plus collection. I don't know if it's supposed to be for the month of launch. I don't know if anyone who gets PS5 and has a PlayStation Plus subscription will get it in the future. Like, I don't know how rare this PlayStation Plus collection is supposed to be. At the same time, a lot of those games are very often on sale. There's probably gonna be plenty of Christmas and holiday related sales about like with these games in mind, especially if you get the PS4 versions and then you play it upgraded on PS5 with the backwards compatibility or with any free upgrades that they may have. So I think it's silly like to buy that. Like, okay, like you're just getting like a few PlayStation 4 games. It's not like they're giving you, even then, like I don't know if I would trust a random person on the internet to log in with my account that has all my information and just to redeem a thing that I don't know, like I could either ask a friend to do that or I don't even know if I would trust a friend to do something like that. It just seems silly to me. I can totally understand them getting banned for that because it's like you're trying to make profit off of a feature that you had to pay money for, and then these people are kind of benefiting from something that's not supposed to be for them. So it is silly. I do wish that I wish that they had it available on the browser store for anyone who's a PlayStation Plus subscriber. And even if you don't have a PS5 yet, you could always redeem that. And then when you do purchase a PS5, it's gonna be there. Even if they lock the games and you can't play them on PS4, I could see that as being a thing of like, okay, I understand. At least you let me redeem it. But then again, I am not sure how rare this is supposed to be, and as everybody else gives their opinions, I'm actually going to be looking that up real quick to see how rare the PlayStation Plus collection is supposed to be. But yeah, what do you think, Spin?
I think this is a ridiculous thing to get banned over. Like, is it really that worth it to get? Like, yes, it's 20 of like the popular PS4 games. And from what I saw in the rest of this article, like it's not that expensive to get somebody to do this for you. But it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. And the people who not only the people who are selling this service getting banned, like their PS5 consoles are like locked out of everything, but the people who are buying it are getting banned. And it doesn't seem worth it to me. And I don't understand why. I mean, I guess I understand why people are doing this, because like people will exploit any kind of system to get money, to like make money off of it. But like I don't understand why you would buy something like this, because it just doesn't seem worth it. That's kind of my thoughts on it. And I feel like this loophole shouldn't work. I feel like probably now they'll put something in place to make it not work like that anymore, but I feel like something in that feels like it shouldn't work to me. I don't know why. But those are basically my thoughts on it. Chlora, what did you think?
I feel like this is one of those areas that it's kind of like sharing your Netflix account. Like I think we all kind of do these little background sort of things that you're not supposed to do, that kind of manipulates a system. But like, I don't know, most of the time it's just smarter to be like, hey friend, like,
yeah, it's like you're not going on eBay
really
and buying
well
someone else's Netflix account, Yeah. You're just like giving your password to a friend.
Whatever, that we share a Netflix account, or we have a random friend on our Crunchyroll account because whatever, or like subscription services. And it's the same with this. Like if you knew about this capabilities or whatever, like I don't know, don't you have just a close friend to just share it with, rather than I'm gonna make $50 or whatever and then get
Right.
banned. like let me post it all over the internet that it's traceable and backtrackable and it's illegal. Like people don't do that with their Netflix or Hulu's or whatever. So I don't know, it's just not smart in my opinion. Koka?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I would have to agree with that, because I think Yeah, it's a little weird to share, to share your password with other people. The thing that I don't know, I guess I would have to agree with Ruby. I feel like it's kind of people are taking advantage of this partly because like it's not available to everyone, right? It's like, oh, if you buy a PS5, you can then get access to these, these 10 games, which I think this is, if I could say this, this is more of a reason that I think PlayStation needs something like Xbox Game Pass, right? Because if you have these first party games that people want access to, but they either didn't buy it at the time and you're either still selling it for too much of a cost, but you can tell people, oh, hey, pay $10 a month or, $5 a month and you can get access to this game for a period of time. These types of things wouldn't happen, right? And you'd still be getting money off of that, right? Because at the end of the day, you could use it for your backwards compatibility, because looking at the list of games, most of these are older games. They're not like brand new games that just came out. It's like, remastered versions of like the original Last of Us and Batman Arkham Knight and that kind of stuff. Things that came out a pretty long time ago for the most part in terms of like gaming. So why not make a service where these things are available? Because you're saying, oh yeah, you're paying for PlayStation Plus, so you get access to this if you buy a PS5. But it also feels weird because it's like you're forcing people to have to buy a PS5 to get access to these games in a weird way too, which kind of bothers me. I get why people are being banned, and I think that they kind of probably should be banned for this, but I also feel like this gives more credence to the fact that like PlayStation needs to become more consumer friendly, because people are feeling like they have to find loopholes to get access to games and older games and things like that they want to play. And people are just figuring out ways to do that. And this lends credence to that idea that Game Pass or a Game Pass like service on PlayStation would be useful. And you would probably get a lot of people who would pay for it because they'd be like, hey, I get access to a lot of these games and you can change them out. Microsoft does it all the time. The games aren't there forever, right? Some of them leave the service and they tell you before they're going to leave. They're like, hey, this game's going to be gone in a month. So if you want to play it now. If not, you don't play it, that kind of thing. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a little weird. I don't know why people are doing it. I feel like it's not that big of a deal to be able to play these games, but also with the number of games that you get with this, 20 games is a lot of games that people might want to play, and for them to not even have the ability to get access to them just because they have a PlayStation 4 and can't afford to buy a PlayStation 5, it's kind of crappy. And that's the reason people I think are trying to get around this, because there are PlayStation 5 people that are probably like, oh yeah, I already played these games. I could afford to buy them all and I could buy a PS5. Especially with the limited launch numbers that they had, right? Like people are limited in being able to play these because you don't have enough consoles for people to buy them. So they're not even getting access to these things because they can't get the console.
It also doesn't help that I did some digging, and it doesn't help that Sony doesn't have any confirmation of whether or not this is going to be a permanent addition to PS Plus or not. As far as I'm aware from digging up the internet, people assume that it is going to be a thing of like, if you have a PS5 and you have a PlayStation Plus subscription, you can like redeem. But apparently it doesn't really show up as like a part of your library kind of thing. I think it's almost like people are describing it as almost like a Game Pass-esque situation where it's like, oh, here's a little thing that you can redeem. And of course you'll be able to play those games, like they will show up in your library and everything. But I don't think it's the same kind of system as like the PS Plus menu when you redeem your like 2 or 3 games that month. So that doesn't help either, that Sony hasn't given an official thing of like, hey, this is only going to be available for this time, or they haven't said, oh, you're going to keep them forever and this is going to be a thing for any new member, like any person who gets a PS5, no matter if it's this year or next year or 2 years from now, everybody's going to get that same collection. So they haven't fully delved into that. So that's why people are also like kind of desperate. They're like, oh wait, but like 20 free games for free, quote unquote, like I want that, right?
Yeah,
And also I think they should just make it available for people on PS4. Like I was thinking about it and I'm like, well, if people supported you by getting a PS4, you could argue that that allowed you to have an audience to build a PS5. So why wouldn't you, like, at the end of the generation be like, "Hey, thank you. Here's games that aren't even that recent anyway, but here, enjoy these games at the end of the generation. If you stuck with us and you have a
Yeah.
PS4, doesn't matter when you got it." Like, I don't know, it just seems silly.
Yeah,
until we
that's my
started
big
talking
thing
about
with
it.
this. Go ahead, Koga.
Uh, yeah, until we started talking about it, I wasn't even aware that this wasn't available for PlayStation 4 users, and that's kind of weird. Like, these are PlayStation 4 games. Why not make it accessible to anyone across across the board? That's like if Microsoft had for Game Pass, like, all right, you can only play this on Xbox Series X when it's on Xbox One. I don't know. I would have preferred them to not do that and just have it available for PlayStation 4 players, but I don't see that probably changing because, unfortunately, I have to be honest, they don't really have to, and people are gonna, pay for their stuff anyway. So that's kind of like the position they're in a good portion of the time. This past generation is that if they don't have to, they may not do it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
To clarify, you can play them on PS4, but you have to redeem them with a PS5. It's a weird loophole situation of like you have to have a PS5,
Like,
redeem it,
yeah.
but then you can play it anywhere. Like, well, within PS5 or PS4, which is really weird. Like if they're gonna be playable on PS4, just like allow them to be redeemable on PS4.
Like my big thing is that if you have to log in with someone else's account, right? If you log in, you redeem it on your PS5, and then they get access to it on their PS4. I'm assuming you're going to go back and log in with your account. Does it matter? Like at the end of the day, it's one person still having access to it, or do you still have access? Like, what is the like? That's the thing that I'm, I guess, confused about. Like,
people were doing it for multiple accounts. Like there were going into a little bit more detail in this article that we have. There were people that like were basically the people that were caught doing this were doing it for several people's accounts, and like that's
Okay.
basically how they were caught doing it.
okay, they were logged, so you were able to. Okay,
You're able to log
Well,
in
that-
on someone else's account, log out, log in on a different person's account, log out.
Yeah.
okay. That to me, that's slightly on Sony, because I feel like you would make it so that it is tied to an account, so then that would discourage this, right?
Yeah.
So then
So,
it would
like,
be like,
recognize that, hey, this PS5 is logging in on all of these accounts to do this.
That's probably
Yeah.
how they detected it and how they banned it, right?
I like,
Yeah.
feel like
Because all these
Like-
people have to have subscriptions themselves. So
yeah,
Right.
I also feel like most devices, if not all devices these days, have some kind of like, hey, you logged in a different country or a different part of town. Like, what is this? Like,
Yeah.
They have some kind of like, I don't even know what it's called.
I get what you mean.
almost like a security thing, like, oh,
Yeah.
you
yeah. It's
like make sure. I guess people can confirm though, like, you know what I mean? Like if you paid someone and you receive an email like, hey, someone from Russia logged in onto your account, and you're like, oh, this person is from Russia. Sure, you can log
Yeah.
in. I will allow the verification process to continue.
yeah. I think
Yeah, that's on the
Sure,
user.
Jan.
I think the big thing. I think the big thing to me is that I find weird again is that instead of putting in a process where like, oh, you redeem it on a PS5 with this account, okay, now it can't be redeemed again. Like they make redeemable things where you can only redeem it one time with a specific account. Like why did they not just make it so that it was redeemable with a single account? Like that to me, that's weird and slightly lazy on Sony's part with regards to that, because they do it with other redeemable things that they do, like the games you can redeem with Xbox. I mean, with PS Plus, right? Like if you say they give you 3 games this month, it's like, okay, you can redeem these. These are attached to the account that you have associated with PS Plus. Like if I log in on my PlayStation 5 with an account, then okay, then it's been redeemed and it's only accessible on that account. And then you don't have to go around banning people
Right.
You just say, oh, you can't redeem it again. Sorry, you messed up. That's on you.
Yeah.
I mean, but you can only redeem it once. That's the thing. That's why it's fairly, like Spin mentioned briefly, that it's cheap to hire someone to do stuff like this, because you do have to have a PS account, a PS Plus account. Like, they're redeeming it for you as if you were the one who got that PS5 and you're the one who has the PS Plus subscription. Like, they're not doing that kind of thing of like they add their account onto their PS5 and they pretend it's like a family thing and everybody shares the same games. They make it so that they log in with your account, assuming that you already have PS Plus as well. And technically, everybody is only redeeming it once, but they have this one person doing all of the redeeming, and that's where there's the loophole. And that's why Sony was like, maybe this is a bad idea. Maybe you shouldn't do this. Why is this PS5 logging in with so many accounts, and all of them are doing the exact same thing? This is very odd.
Well, speaking of punks, Cyberpunk 2077 retail copies have leaked. According to a write-up from Newsweek, Cyberpunk 2077 is one of the most anticipated games of 2020, but it seems like some gamers have the RPG ahead of its official December release date and have complained of how long it takes to say Cyberpunk 2077. Just kidding. Over the weekend, the internet was surprised to see that retail versions of Cyberpunk 2077 have already been sold, as some gamers have begun posting the box and even the discs of the game. Streams of Cyberpunk 2077 began appearing online over the weekend, including on Twitch. PC Gamer reported that one particular streamer was able to stream the RPG for 20 minutes, with the gameplay being archived and passed around on various forums before their gameplay was erased by CD Projekt Red. Do we think this will impact their sales? And do we think this leak is a sort of response to the multiple times the game has been delayed? Coca, what do you think?
I don't think the leak. I haven't seen the leak, so unless it's like a bunch of things that were wrong, I don't think so. Because people, despite how many times it's been delayed, really want to play the game. But that can be, I could say, a response to it being delayed. Because when people wanted to play, they're going to be like, okay, I can finally play it. And then people want to look at footage, so they, I guess they'll go on Twitch, smart, to go for 20 minutes and then stream it, so they can have a bunch of people come in and maybe get followers and things like that. So unfortunately, I think that being delayed is an issue on that end, but I don't know if it'll really impact sales unless there was just something that people were seeing gameplay wise that they really didn't like. But I haven't really seen anything of it because I've honestly just tried to avoid looking at it. But yeah, they should probably have not. I mean, I guess they can't help it if they have to delay it to an extent. But I mean, when it comes to leaks, I don't know. I'm just trying to feel like how did y'all let that happen?
Yeah,
like that's kind of bad. Like, how did you just let that happen?
It's weird. It's an interesting situation because it's not like someone broke into a vault and they randomly got these copies. These were like retail versions, which happens all the time, usually not this far, off of the release date. But usually, yeah, physical copies of games sometimes end up in people's hands before the release. And this was probably like a couple retailers that didn't update the release date, so they just sent them automatically earlier or something like that. And I can understand people like wanting to stop it, but in one hand, it's like these people paid for the game, so why wouldn't they be allowed to like stream it or to talk about it online? But at the same time, because to me it just feels like it's a common courtesy thing. Like, you wouldn't want to do that because you don't want people to see it early. But then again, nobody's forcing you to click on these streams. So if you find out about this information, it's because you went out of your way to do it. So to me it just seems weird. Like, I don't know if there's any consequences when it comes to like people getting suspended or banned over streaming this early. But I honestly don't think it's on the people like sharing the leaks, because is it technically a leak if you did purchase the game legitimately and it just happened to get to you earlier? You know what I mean? It's I don't know, like I obviously understand CD Projekt Red here and why they wouldn't want people to see an unpatched version of their game, especially because they went gold a while ago, but obviously they delayed the game, so the day one patch is gonna be juicy to say the least. So I think it's more of a thing of like they want to protect not necessarily spoilers, but they want to protect like the game from being judged before a patch was implemented in it. And I can understand that, but it's like y'all need to figure that out with the retailers who got the games out early, not with the streamers or with the people talking about it online. Like that's not their fault. But also, you're kind of an asshole if like you stream something before everybody else and you go on the internet and you're like, "Hey, look at all the things that I found," and everybody is like, "Oh, not these spoilers."
Yeah.
Not these spoilers.
All right. So I have some thoughts and some theories, and let's put our tinfoil hats on for like a second. Tinfoil hats are on. Okay. So, I used to work for a retailer who would get stuff ahead of release sometimes, and that's how it works. Like they don't like get the trucks in the day it's released. They come in like sometimes weeks before, and especially with something like this where it's been delayed, they probably have had the actual physical copies for a very long time because of there's been so many different release dates. So, I'm sure there are some cases where, like, some employee, like, legitimately made the mistake and, like, put something out early and somebody was able to buy it and go out. But how a lot of these leaks happen is somebody who works for the retailer maybe disappears it from the back room when they see it come in. So, I have a sneaking suspicion that probably not a lot of these people got it legitimately, because I have like seen stuff like that happen where somebody who works for a retailer who gets something early will just like maybe a couple copies go missing in shipping somewhere, and then it gets leaked online. Wonder how. So,
oh gee, I wonder.
I have a sneaking suspicion that might have been like responsible for a couple of these. But yeah, it's definitely not unusual for things to appear in the hands of retailers before a launch, because like you have to have it before the launch to be able to prepare to get it ready to go.
Yeah.
But I definitely think that it getting delayed didn't help matters, because then, especially with the delay being only like a few weeks after the launch date that was supposed to happen, I feel like all the retailers probably have most of the physical copies because they were getting them ahead of that November launch date, and now they're there just like sitting in the back room, and maybe either not everybody got the memo of the delayed launch date and some people put them out early and sold them, or some copies got disappeared from the back room. Wow. Maybe so.
Can I ask something about like the consoles? Like, is that a thing that also happens? Like, do retailers get consoles before, like in advance before a launch? Because I'm like, now that we're talking about this, I'm like, how come there's like so many physical copies of games that are like out early weeks before, and then consoles it's like, oh, we have two.
Maybe so. Maybe that's what's going on. The thing is, like, it's a lot easier to sneak a game out than it would be to sneak an entire console out. Yeah. Like, you can't exactly put your PS5 like in your backpack.
oh no, that's not what I was saying. I'm asking like if retailers get the consoles early too, like before launch, just to be prepared for like a launch situation. Do they still get it early?
Yeah,
probably.
So.
I would imagine.
Okay. Interesting.
I would assume that you would have to, because you have to have them before launch day. If you got them on launch day, it wouldn't be, I guess, the most useful to do that. So, I don't know. I guess I would assume that you should get it then, and it's just think it's just that they don't ever make enough of them, and it takes longer to make the physical devices, and it requires a lot more quality control and that kind of stuff in terms of like, is the device going to overheat? Is it broken? Is the plastic broken? Is this broken? Whereas with the games, it's, it's on a disc, and with the majority of people purchasing digital copies of games, you also typically need a lot fewer of them to go out. So who knows?
Maybe so.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know. But I agree with Spin that it probably got disappeared from the back the store. From my experience working in retail as well, that happens quite frequently. People are like, "Oh, this thing's here and it's not going to be out for a bit." I'm doing inventory. I can just say, "Oh, one never showed up."
Oh, weird.
It's like, okay,
broadcast it all over the internet. Whoops.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
That's
sure.
the thing. Like, you're gonna do it.
Super fired, like extra fired.
Extra fired,
No,
right?
Clever. Use your goddamn brains.
Yeah.
If you're gonna get it, just get it and play it at home by yourself. Like, putting it online, like, they're gonna figure out that it was you eventually.
Honey, disconnect that console from the internet, take the Ethernet cable out, play that game privately, keep it to yourself, don't tell a soul.
Exactly.
Oh my
Exactly.
god.
If you want to post gameplay, look, record it and post it the day the game comes out.
Right.
Like, anything. But posting gameplay the day before, like days before, a week before.
People do that though. Like, I remember there was I don't remember what game it was recently that this happened to, but I think it, don't quote me because I don't know if I'm correct in this, but I think it was Australia. I think there was like a few retailers there that people got their hands on a specific game like a week before, but this was like everybody who like paid for it and did it. The copies didn't disappear. Okay, these were people who like actually ordered their games and they just got shipped like a week early or something. And some people did stream them. Some people were like, well, I got my copy, I guess I'm going to stream them. But some of them were like, ooh, I got my copy and I cannot wait until I can open it. Like, I guess it's different types of people. There's people who are like, ooh, I can get a few extra follows and some views if I stream the game early. And there's the people who are like, I don't know, I want to wait until the day one patch is out so that everything is okay with my copy and I don't want to leak anything.
Yeah.
I don't want to get in trouble because I paid for this. I don't want to get, something wild happening to my copy or something. So people are just going to be people, I guess.
Right.
Oh, that's the truth. That is 100% the truth. People will be people. Make more choices.
Definitely.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness.
We also have some choices from Microsoft.
Yes. Speaking of people making choices and releasing new products, Microsoft is developing an Xbox app for TV. So we have this from a write-up from The Verge, and it states that Microsoft is in the early phases of rolling out its xCloud streaming service on mobile devices, but TVs are the next logical step. In an interview with The Verge, Xbox chief Phil Spencer has revealed we'll likely see an Xbox app appear on smart TVs over the next year. I think you're going to see that in the next 12 months, said Spencer, when asked about turning the Xbox into a TV app. I don't think anything is going to stop us from doing that. Spencer previously hinted at TV streaming sticks for Xbox, Microsoft's xCloud service last month, and this latest hint suggests we might see similar hardware or an Xbox app for TVs during 2021. Microsoft is currently working on bringing xCloud to the web to enable it on iOS devices. This work would naturally allow xCloud to expand to TVs, browsers, and elsewhere. And this is pretty interesting, right? Because Xbox and Microsoft have been heavily focused on getting, Xbox and Microsoft gaming to everyone they can. Basically saying, you want to play a game that is available through Microsoft or through Xbox, not even particularly like an Xbox exclusive, here's a way for you to get to it. And like with developing mobile apps to be able to do it, potentially a streaming stick as well as TV apps, I think that is a way for them to get as many people into their ecosystem as possible. And I think that's what Game Pass was built to do. And I think people have thought, oh, Xbox is just, they're going to lose the console war. But Xbox is looking way ahead of that and saying not everyone games with a console. And let's give them the ability to game wherever they are and meet them where they are, which I think is really smart on their end. And also, to me, very consumer friendly if they make it connected where you can have one account that allows you to play on all of these different devices, right? If you can be like, oh, well, I have a TV in my room that has an Xbox app, so I don't need to put my Xbox in there. I can just take my controller and play that way, or play on my computer or play on my phone when I'm out and about. Like, giving the ability for a person who is in your ecosystem to play anywhere they are is brilliant, right? Because now hotels have smart TVs where it's like, oh, you can log into an account with an Xbox app and play games while you're at a hotel or whatever the case may be. I think this is very smart of them, allowing people to have access to this service and to their games kind of anywhere and everywhere. I think it's very consumer friendly on their part, but also very smart on their part to do this. What do you think? What do y'all think? What about you, Koga?
I think this is actually really good. I figured that they were going to do something like this because I know, like with Stadia, you can like hook that up to your TV. So I'm like, if they're going to set up, xCloud, I know they eventually wanted to bring it to like a web browser to PC as well. Like, you might also find a way to get it to where people can do that, on their TVs, whether it be through a dongle or like through like a Roku TV, and you just download the app. I think it's good that they're trying to make it just more easier for people to get into, because like I said, not everyone, like Jam said, not everyone wants to play on the console. Not everyone even has a console, and some may be okay with playing it on a TV. I mean, yeah, we can argue about like input delay, but I mean, if you have a good connection, your everyday person more than likely isn't going to be able to tell. Like, at least that's been my experience with it. When I have really good connection, and same with Stadia, is that your everyday person is not going to be able to. Now, I can, but if your everyday person isn't going to be able to, then it's just, okay, I can now play on my TV, don't need a console, subscription service, video games. And I think them just making it easier for more people to play is just great. Like, the only downside I can think of is if they eventually at some point stop doing consoles. That's about it. But I know at least a few months ago, Phil Spencer said that he doesn't see that happening anytime soon. I know he wants to still release consoles. So at least, I would say at least we'll be fine, at least until the next one. But who knows, when Phil eventually, steps down, who knows what that person feels like. But it's like I said, as long as they keep the options open and available, I'm 100% fine with it. I think it's great. What you think, Ruby?
I agree. Also, to the point of like, the person who can't afford a console, so they're not gonna buy it. Let's just say there's like, obviously there's an amount of people out there who will never get a console because it's expensive, but they likely can't afford xCloud for like maybe a month or two or something like that, so they can still experience games, a lot of first parties from Microsoft. So it's like what y'all have been saying, like getting people into their ecosystem is actually really smart moving forward, because maybe there's a section of people, especially now in 2020, we say this all the time, but not everybody, like everybody's budgets are different this year. So for people who may not be able to afford a console this year or even the next year, maybe down the line they'll still be able to say, you know what, I still played this game and all these games, and now that this brand was so good to me, I'm going to purchase their console and I'm going to experience it in a different way, or or however it might be, right? Because obviously xCloud is not going to be perfect. As a society, stable internet connection unfortunately is not a thing that's accessible everywhere. But it's better than, you know, for the past few console generations, like so many people, including us here, like so many occasions where we're like, oh, I never got to experience that, or I never really got to play that because we either couldn't afford it, our parents couldn't afford it, or and back then, of course, like the internet was not much of a thing, so of course we had to be reduced to what we had, and a lot of games were offline anyway. But these days, I feel like, yeah, this is the most appropriate step to take. Like, get as many people as you can saying your brand. Word of mouth is huge, so everybody just talking about how good of a service you provide, how good of games you may have, and just having this over not having anything is way better. And I don't see it impacting console sales because, like I said, the xCloud is probably not for the people who, I mean, if you're a hardcore fan of Microsoft, you probably are going to have all the services. Is xCloud included in the Game Pass Ultimate subscription, or is it a separate subscription?
I think it's separate right now, but I think that's mainly just because xCloud is not really set up to be running. I don't think it's really set up. I think.
Is it in
if
beta?
you get an xCloud service, I think it's technically still in beta.
Oh, okay.
But I think if you get xCloud, if you pay for the xCloud subscription, I think maybe you get access to Game Pass, but it's not the other way around where you're paying for a service that you might not really get to use.
Yeah. Either way, like it just makes people. It just helps more people get into video games. And even if the service isn't perfect, which, by the way, I only heard good things about xCloud. But, you know, even if it's not perfect, it's better than what Nintendo and Sony are providing, which is nothing. You know what I mean? It's like...
It's Black Friday. Get $5 off of Luigi's Mansion 3.
So accessible for people who want to get into gaming. So accessible.
Nintendo really needs to figure out how to reduce the cost of games. Like, truly.
They just need to stop thinking that, oh yeah, our games did not reduce in value over the last 5 years, so they're not going to reduce in price, which is like, okay, I get it, but the game is still good, but you don't have to have it full price for me to believe that your game is amazing. You don't, you know? What do you think, Spin? I'm talking too much.
It's like I love Nintendo so much, but dang. But about this, I don't necessarily see people getting this instead of an Xbox. I think there's some people who are gonna be like, hey, let me try out these games on xCloud with my little stick or whatever, and like if I like them, maybe I'll get an Xbox. I think there's some people who might do that. But how I kind of see people using it is kind of what Jam said about how, like, now I can take my games anywhere. Like, you don't have to, if you're, like, going to a friend's house, you don't have to bring your entire Xbox fridge with you to play games at their house. Like, you can just do, a little
Not
stick.
The fridge.
You can just do a stick and put it in their TV, and then you're playing. Then you're gaming. You're doing your thing. So I think that's probably like gonna be the most common application of this, because like you said, not everybody has great internet, so not everybody's gonna be. I feel like this isn't gonna be the primary method of gaming for a lot of people. I think it's gonna be like a situation of like, I don't want to go out to the living room where my Xbox is. I'm just gonna plug this into my TV in my room, and I'm gonna stay in my blanket burrito and game. Or I'm going on vacation. I don't want to bring my entire fridge in my luggage. Let me bring this little stick and plug it into the hotel TV.
You mean to tell me you don't bring your fridge into, like, when you go on vacation, you don't bring your fridge along with you? Like, that's not a thing?
No, how dare you, Spin? I do it all the time. Every time I travel, whole fridge with me.
The entire fridge.
If anything,
just your fridge going through the airport security.
Slight update. I was incorrect. Currently, xCloud is included in Xbox Game Pass Ultimate.
Ooh, oh, that's a really good deal.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh my god. If anything, it's their solution to them not having a handheld situation, right? If anything, it's them being like, "Hey, listen, we don't have a fancy dock system where you have your Joy-Cons with Joy-Con drift and all of that, but we have a really good app that you can use, and we're Microsoft, so our servers are going to be amazing. I've heard that xCloud is good even in like public Wi-Fi, so that's like a thing. So yeah, if anything, this is a solution to them not having a handheld, which technically they do have laptops because Microsoft, but yeah, you know what I mean.
So yeah, it's kind of a way of doing like portable gaming without doing portable gaming.
Yeah, without like
That's really interesting.
building their own handheld situation, having to deal with all the issues that come with it. But let's get into what we're playing, since we're talking about like the X Cloud and we're talking about all that stuff. Oh wait, Chalora didn't get to. My
I
bad.
sure did.
You did?
I did.
Hmm.
I was gardening in my garden.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You were.
Having
You
a
were.
fashion moment.
You're.
Doing
Yeah.
a
You were.
fashion
You were
icon.
providing us with a fashion moment.
Courtesy of the sun. I think Sony did this 8 years ago, 2012, PS Vita. You were able to literally play a game on your PlayStation and then transfer it to your PS Vita. So I don't know. That I don't think that was super successful. It wasn't unsuccessful. It just wasn't like, wow.
Mhm.
So I don't know how successful this will be. I guess we'll see.
I mean, the difference with this one and how Sony was doing is that you don't need to have an Xbox console at all.
Yeah.
And I think that was the difference was that it was like, I think, was it remote play that I think it was?
Yeah, it was. It was their marketing campaign was like, oh, all the games that you can play on your PS4, you can play on your Vita. So we're not gonna develop many games for the Vita because you're just gonna play your PS4 games on there, right?
Yeah.
Like, no. That's not why you spend that much money for a handheld for.
I mean, you could do the PSP games, but there weren't a lot of PSP games, which was kind of dumb. The only
Here,
thing,
play 2.5 games
yeah,
on our hand.
Not
Yeah.
2.5.
I wish they would have. I wish they would have invested more in like the PS Vita because I think that could have been a very good handheld console. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, there were some incredible games on the PSP and the
Yeah.
PS Vita. Like, I think they had Final Fantasy Duodecim and Dissidia, which was a great game, and then they completely ruined it with
Oh
the
yeah.
Dissidia on the console, which is just awful and terrible and uncustomizable and disgusting and wasteful and
Oh wow. What a great fan you are of that game.
I bought it.
Tell
when
us
it
more
came
about
out,
it.
and I'm pissed. I bought that game. I pre-ordered it. I was so excited to play it again. They improved it so much with Duodecim, and then they completely ruined it. They ruined all the fun things about it. They destroyed the story mode. They only limited it to PvP online.
It was a journey.
They took everything that was fun about the game and they said, no, nobody wants that.
Yeah.
Did you want to know the moveset of your character? Well, look it up on Wikipedia because we're not going to provide it for you.
Oh, Square
Even we don't know what our
Enix.
characters do.
Square Enix, why? Literally everybody, like, this was a arcade game turned into a console game, and everybody thought it was just gonna be like Dissidia from the PSP era, but prettier.
Oh.
No, it was nothing of the sort. We were lied to. We were lied to several times. It was not a great moment.
See what happens.
It's
Let's
so
take away
pretty
all the
though.
characters.
Anyway,
Let's reduce the amount of characters that we added back to like nothing, and then make it not fun. Like,
what do you
Wasn't
mean?
that the one that we played, Ruby? Online that one time?
Yes, we played it on beta when it was
Oh my
like a free
God.
beta. It was so bad, and I don't think the matchmaking got any better when the game released.
But I mean, this is what I'm saying. This is why I'm mad at Square Enix. They do this all the time. They take games and then they're like, look at how fun this is, and then they just rip it apart into nothing.
Right. Honestly,
I don't
just like
understand.
port the PSP versions. Just like
Yeah.
up-res it. Like, can you give us that like on modern consoles, please?
And then I would, do that and then make DLC of just costumes and shit, and I would buy it. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
That's all people
Fair.
wanted. The game was great the way it was. They added Yuna, for example. People loved playing Yuna,
Tifa.
Tifa, Terra, and you could play as the villains too, which was a super cool dynamic. And they all had really cool costumes and like different things, and you could customize their move sets. So it was a fighting game that was like, if I fought with my Terra against your Terra, they might have different move sets.
Yeah.
Like, I think a fighting game with customizable move sets is really cool.
Yeah, I
don't know.
agree.
What a waste.
Right.
And I'm scared of this for Bravely Default 2. Because they made Bravely Default and then they made Bravely Second, and those were both really good. And now they have Bravely Default 2, and I'm scared that they're gonna like Square Enix it.
They did have like they did have like a thing where they responded to user feedback or something. Like they had a demo and then they had a survey for it, and then they did something like addressing everything that got like everybody was concerned about. So hopefully they're listening this time around, and they
Hopefully.
yeah. Square Enix, just please. We just wanna spend our money and enjoy your products. That's all.
Those little ideas are gonna float up to the executives, and then they're gonna go, no!
That's also true. Like the developers may have the best intentions in mind, and then the people on top will be
Executives
like,
say no.
You know what? Maybe they don't want Tifa in the Cydia. They don't. She's not popular at all. When meanwhile, Tifa's like one of the most popular video game characters ever created. But anyway, what are we enjoying? What games are providing us with joy these days? We can start with Chalora, since we could use like a positive.
Positive.
Chalora's like everything's terrible.
To counterbalance,
Be the most like negative gamer. I haven't been playing anything good. I've just been like super busy this week editing and shooting videos and things. So in my spare time, just still playing Genshin and League. Nobody wants to know that I'm playing League.
Oh, we want to know. We want to know.
The world's most hated game.
We care, Chalora. We care about you
We
and your
do.
gaming and your gaming habits.
I mean, all year I've been saying that League isn't the worst game, like socially, and that maybe Overwatch is starting to become the more toxic game, or like other
Ooh.
types of games, which they are. But then I've literally had 2 full years of like minimal toxicity, super easy to just like mute them and move on. And then this week I had a game or 2 or 3 games in a row. It was just like the worst kind of dogpiling.
Oh, no.
Not this.
And it's like, I'm not even bad. Like I don't have a bad score. I'm contributing. Like I don't understand what's going on. So I don't know. But otherwise than that, it's like I played after that and it was fine. It's just kind of like I don't understand what's going on.
And sometimes you just run
What
into those
happened?
moments where people are being extra toxic.
For like no reason,
Yeah.
Well, what about you, Spin? What have you been playing?
Well, the other week we started our playthrough of the new Sackboy game, Sackboy the Adventure. Me and Ruby did that on this channel like a couple weeks ago. We took a little bit of a break for Thanksgiving, but it's going to be coming back, and I'm super, super excited about it. It's been so fun. I've just been really enjoying the experience of it. It's definitely not. Um, it's not necessarily the same as a Little Big Planet game because you can't make levels in it. And that's kind of sad because that is something that I really loved about the Little Big Planet games. But they're basically with Sackboy, they're just like kind of giving you a fun platformer, and I love a fun platformer. So I've still been having a great time with it, and I got this cute little friend in the special edition, and and we love that. So that playthrough should be coming back this week, and I've still been, doing my shiny hunting, not finding Pumpkaboo. The usual.
It's just the
Yeah.
usual.
Just the usual. I'm hoping that at some point I'll be able to get an Xbox so that I can start playing some more games on Games Pass because I do have it for PC. But I would really enjoy like having the console version because you get more games and because like sometimes I'll download a game on Game Pass and then it won't work on my computer. So
yeah.
I just kind of want that like guarantee that I can play the whole library of games on this console and everything's gonna be fine.
And stream them
kinda
easily if you want to.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah,
For
Jan, what
sure.
have you been into this week?
I've been replaying through Pokemon Sword and Shield. Because I was like, I want to play this again. And also getting back into Animal Crossing again, per usual, because I love Animal Crossing and the ability to celebrate holidays that, these little characters don't celebrate, but they get to celebrate them with me. So that's always fun. And then besides that, that's kind of all I've really been doing. Playing those two games mostly. Looking to get into some more games to play, waiting for some other new games to come out. I might decide to play Cyberpunk 2077. Who knows? Haven't decided yet. But yeah, that's what I've been playing. What about you, Koga?
Week has been, I guess, a little bit slow. I haven't played too much. Of course, been playing Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle, of course. They've been having a celebration with a collaboration with Super Dragon Ball Heroes. And yeah, you're hearing that correct. Dragon Ball is collaborating with itself. Also,
Why not?
if it works.
Yeah.
So for the past few days, I've been off since Thursday. I've decided to all right, I'm going to finish Yakuza 0, and I finished it about 2 a.m. this morning. That game is bonkers. I love it so much, and I'm like, I'm ready. I'm going to start the next one probably later on today. But I'm like, it was just so much fun to play. The story was good. It had plots and just twists all over the place. You can't trust nobody in this game. And then it knows how to take. You have those serious moments in the story that it just really pulls you in with. The voice acting is just top notch. The music goes well with it, and you get attached to all these characters. And then you're just off doing something else like baseball or in some adult video section.
Oh wow.
So it's all over.
Okay.
Suddenly we're all intrigued.
Suddenly Taurus interested.
Oh my goodness. But it's definitely it was the first game I played in the series, and I'm like, if there was a game to pull me in, it was that one. It's really good. So I'm ready to go into the next one. How about yourself, Ruby? Anything that you've been playing this week?
Ooh, I finally started Final Fantasy VII Remake, and it's given me all the life that I've ever needed. Because earlier this year, I actually played the original Final Fantasy VII, not for the first time, but I finished it for the first time. And I really, really loved it. And I really like what they're doing with the remake. Like if you played the original, there are certain beats in the story that don't happen at certain points in the remake. Like they happen earlier, and like they're already building up certain elements of the story, like almost from the get-go. So I'm really interested to see how it's gonna continue moving forward with like the liberties that they take with the story and how they keep building towards all the drama and all the shenanigans that are meant to happen later down the line, and even how they tie it up with, of course, part two, which is gonna come out, somewhere within this decade, hopefully. The gameplay, I've found it really fun. It's very polarizing, and I've had many conversations with people about this because I wouldn't say it's a weird mix between action RPG and turn-based RPG. It's just a mixture of both. To me, it feels as though they have the classic mode, so you can basically have your characters automatically attacking everybody while the ATB bar fills up, as if you're playing a turn-based game. And you just basically select what abilities or items you want to use. Or you can play the standard way, quote unquote, and you can use your normal attacks by spamming square. And then when the bar fills, you can press X and everything slows down and you get to use an ability or an item or a limit break or whatever it might be. So, really cool so far. So far, I only have played as the first trio of Cloud, Barrett, and Tifa. So I'm excited to play as Aerith, and I'm just excited for it down the line. Tifa is so fun to play as. What I love about that game as well, without me wanting to rant too much about it, is that the latest few Final Fantasy games basically force you with the main character, like Lightning for 13 or Noctis for 15. So you basically, or even 12, like whoever you make your leader, you can't really, like, it's not super easy to go back and forth between characters. But 7, it's super easy to go back and forth. It's so easy to switch characters. All of them have like very distinct battle styles. Like for Cloud, he has like a regular mode, and he has like a mode where it's supposed to be more defensive and more tanky. And then, for example, Barrett is the one, obviously he has like a gun arm, because obviously Final Fantasy, you can't just have a gun, you have to have a gun arm. And you basically, it's meant to be more of a long distance kind of situation. You attack people from afar. And then Tifa, you actually can play around with a lot of different martial arts that she has. So it's really cool to see all the different battle styles. I'm excited for it moving forward, and to see how everything kind of plays out in their own version of it. I also started Banjo-Kazooie. I don't know if I mentioned it last week because we had our Game Awards conversation, but I started Banjo-Kazooie for the first time. It's been a journey. Let me tell y'all. The game is adorable, but I've reached this level where there's like a sand, like, weird situation where it's like a waterfall, but it's a sand fall, and it looks like a weird treadmill situation, and it actually gave me like motion sickness. I was like, I need to stop playing it. I feel weird. I hate it. The camera is a journey, but the game is super adorable and the music is very cozy. Other than that, I've been enjoying the Genshin like update these days. Like I've been doing like some story quests and stuff like that. Y'all know we talk about Genshin every week. But yeah, did y'all play, because I know we have some Animal Crossing players in here. Did y'all get to experience Turkey Day in Animal Crossing?
I did. I did a little excursion into Animal Crossing into Yeehaw Land off stream, and I did the Yeehaw Land Turkey Day event, and it was fun. Like
Yeah, it was fun.
You're basically just finding a lot of different ingredients for Franklin and helping them like make meals, and then you're helping your villagers find ingredients. And it's like a good way to just be able to talk to everybody, and like the little feast is so cute. What was your experience with the jam?
Same. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Just the idea of just being like, the game becomes like always for all of these events. It's like, oh, search for these items and do these things. And like every time I think I'll be like, oh, I don't want to do that again. And then I start doing it and I'm like, okay, this is great. I want to do this. and then it pushed me to interact with all of my, villagers and all of that, which I always enjoy because sometimes I end up being focused on the ones that like, even though I love all of them, the ones that I like love the most, I always go talk to them a lot and give them stuff on my island. But then this pushes me to like talk to everyone and help Franklin and say, oh, I need to go diving and find mussels and pick this thing and do that thing. And it was a lot of fun and I really enjoyed it. It was cute.
Little hats.
Yes, and they're all so excited. It's so great. It's so great.
So cute.
Yeah, I love it so much. Like I that game is still my game of the year, honestly, just because I just love it so much.
Absolutely. But do we want to go around and say like where we can find all of our stuff and go ahead and wrap things up? We can do reverse order if you want. I can kind of go first.
Yes, let's spice things up a little bit. Why not? Let's throw them, for a loop. For people listening, they're like, what are they talking about? What order? What is this? We're talking about the order of the webcams on screen. So, it's okay. Listen, we have a system in place and we try our best.
We're trying our best. You can find me everywhere at Spinblend. Sometimes I'm playing Animal Crossing. Sometimes I'm setting my whole streaming setup on fire.
Yeah.
It's lit.
It's lit. It's real lit.
Hopefully that won't be a regular occurrence. But tune in to find out.
Oh,
no. You can find me on Twitch at Spinblend, also Twitter at Spinblend, and I have a soap shop that you can find on Etsy. It's Spin Soap Cafe. So Ruby, you want to go ahead?
Not before you tell everyone your story, because people listening to this are like, so there's a fire and we're just gonna brush over it? What's going on here?
It's lit.
Okay. Y'all want to hear the story of the fire?
Maybe so.
Wednesday, I just wanted to do a nice chill soap stream. I even like titled it that, like nice chill soap stream before the holiday.
Right.
And little did I know. A chemical. Okay, so I'll try to keep it short. Chemical reaction went bad.
Yes.
Hot coffee exploded everywhere. Which got onto the power strip that I keep under my desk with all of all of my computer and my consoles plugged into it, which probably was not a smart decision, but I'm not a very smart person, so
listen.
So liquid plus electrical outlets equals bad. Basically stream cut out. It was very dramatic.
Very dramatic.
There was a small fire. Everybody thought I died. But it ended up being okay.
Yay! Everything is okay.
He's still here.
So, go support the soap shop because, stuff happens, chemical reactions,
Risking it all for the soap.
Risking it all for the soap.
Not that.
My streams are a bit less dangerous. My content is not quite as dangerous, thankfully. If anything, there's only some spicy opinions every once in a while about the games that I play, particularly if, they're a certain Square Enix title. No, but you can just enjoy a variety of content. I'm currently working on editing some of the recent playthroughs that I've done as well, so that they can be enjoyed in one sitting. Because obviously, when you play a game that's like 30 hours long, you can it's easier to just enjoy it or the gist of the experience for like 30 to 40 minutes in one sitting. So working on those. So stay tuned for my YouTube, obviously my socials. I'll keep you updated. Everything at Project Ruby. What about you, Koga?
Who you can find me on here at twitch.tv /Koga_Jangles. I'll be streaming tomorrow morning again with playing some more Sega Saturn games. I've been doing that. This gonna be the 4th week. Last week, played Virtua Cop 1 and 2. Learned that there's a 3 that just didn't get released outside of arcades. And then played House of the Dead 1 on Saturn. Oh my god, that version is kind of bad. It's pretty bad. Like the crosshairs at 60 frames per second, but then like the animation of the characters can go from 30 to 15. So it's pretty interesting.
Not 15.
But it's oh yes.
Not
it's so weird. It's funny, but that's kind of like the thing that's kind of fun about going through some of these games, that some of them are just really gems that you miss out on, and some of them are bad, and you're just like, oh my goodness, how did we deal with this? I mean, it's all we had, but wow. You can also find me on Twitter at Koga_Jangles as well. How about yourself, Jam?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and twitch.tv at jam_5899. And there we'll talk about science, we'll talk about Cuphead, and that's pretty much what I do. Eventually I'll play something different, but I keep dying in Cuphead, so I got to make it through the game at some point. So we'll keep playing it till I do. It's fun. What about you, Chalora?
Howdy. You can find me at farmersonly.com/Chalora. And you can find the shadow of my webcam on my face at myhouse.com. And
I feel personally attacked.
Not farmers only.
Chalora said yeehaw rights.
All right. Twitch.tv/Chalora, or on Twitter at Chalora with a 0 instead of an O, or on YouTube at Chalora Flora, where I post really stupid videos and my lip syncs as well. And I would encourage people to check out Stream Queen Con. It's something that I've helped create. It's going to be December 16th to 19th, and I hope that you guys check it out.
Yes.
It's something free and fun to do.
We love that.
Yes, love that.
Especially like a queer event like that. Really, really exciting stuff.
Oh, it's mega queer. There's going to be some big names there. There's going to be some really cool people there, really dynamic panels that I helped create. Yeah, I hope that you guys will enjoy.
Very excited. So everybody support all of these wonderful people that you can hear/see on your screens. We are live every Saturday. Yes, Saturday. I was like, what day is it today?
What today?
One of those days.
Every Saturday at 6 p.m. GMT, which is 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central. That was a journey.
She did time zones, y'all.
I tried.
We got there in the end.
Truly. We're also on YouTube. You just gotta look us up because we don't have a custom URL yet. Please subscribe to the channel. We have the Sackboy Adventure unboxing. Obviously, down the line, more unboxings and more playthroughs and shenanigans with the 5 of us, or any sort of combination within these people that you can hear and see. And we're also on Spotify, on the wonderful podcast services out there. So look us up out there. Just Gaming Tingz with a Z. And follow the accounts. Follow everybody. We love to see it. We'll be back we'll be back on Thursday, I think, for Sackboy Adventure Times. And of course on Saturday for another podcast episode. So bye, everybody. We love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.